Next, ladies and gentlemen, for our next session, we're going to explore bold solutions in sustainable development, climate action, and community engagement. For this session, please welcome to the stage AbdelQader AlSaqqaf, the UAE Youth Delegate to the UN. Along with him is Maxim Kaplevich, the founder and CEO of Sparklo, and your moderator, Jayda Shoukry, content producer at Forbes Middle East.
I think this will be your mic. I think I have mine.
Hello, hello. I have to admit I'm very excited about this panel because it's a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And just to give you an idea, we've been trying to go green for decades now, and innovation is critical for it because it's not the easiest thing to do. We've been relying on fossil fuels, we've been relying on plastics, we've been relying on a lot of harmful things. So without further ado, I want to ask the first question. What is the ecosystem like for innovators if we talk on the technical side?
Hi everyone, happy to be here. I'm happy to be on the stage with you, Jayda, and my good friend AbdelQader. So if we talk about technical side of innovations in environment, we need to keep in mind that it's my point of view, but I want to share it with you. So when we talk about cities, when we look what kind of technologies it's evolving, it's emerging, we see a lot of innovations in space. We are ready to go to planets far away. But when we talk about Earth, I would say we're still on a long way to making it more sustainable. Because actually the problem that we have, and I'm talking here about the side of the waste, it's kind of new problem. So 50 years ago, we didn't have that much packaging. And right now, just in 1 month, we create more packaging than was created from 1970s to 1980s.
I think a single person now is averaging 30 kgs of plastic waste, each single person.
Something like this, and yeah, and those numbers are not really good. And
that's half of my weight.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Half your weight, yeah. So, and each 6 years it doubles actually the quantity. So we need some new ways how to deal with it. So, and we need to focus. So a lot of projects are actually focusing on the consequences. So the consequence, for example, is to clean this park or to clean the ocean. But we need to focus not the consequence, but on the cause. Why this bottle or why this waste is here? It's because it was not treated well. It's because we don't have infrastructure. And that's what we are doing in Sparklo by creating this infrastructure easy, accessible to the people, so it becomes convenient to them, and it's not becomes a nightmare, oh, I have to go across all of the city just to recycle. No. Easy way, fun, digital, socialized, next to your building, for example, where you're living, or next to the grocery store where you're going to. So we understand there is a lack in infrastructure, and when we go beyond this gap, it might become much better.
Okay, now obviously the innovation is driven and led by people, and you focus specifically on the social side of things. Talk to us, what is it like in terms of social impact and mentorship when it comes to new innovative talent who is still trying to find their place in the world?
It starts, I think, with the mindset. I'm really fascinated about the topic of behavioral science. And many of the actions we're seeing today in the world, from many of the things that my friend Maxim flagged and you also mentioned, I think they go back to the way we think. Many of the people who live over this planet, they think of this planet and its resources as if they own the planet, rather than they ask themselves this question, which is, do we own the planet or we're just custodians over it? Are we responsibly, intentionally dealing with the resources or not? So once we have those kind of beliefs, those mindsets, those lenses to view the world, definitely we will have more people in terms of responsible consumption and responsible production.
Okay, now let's delve into Sparklo. You have 300 collection stations. You have a results-driven model. Now, how do the partnerships play into that, and how did you maximize the benefit from it?
Well, let me just give some figures. So we actually we have just 300 machines in the UAE. Across MENA we have more than 500, and we have more than 2,000 or 2,500 right now across the world. So actually we are having the largest network of optimized plastic collection in the world, because a private one, because other competitors that we have are the government-based systems. And that's why the partnerships, they play the crucial role for us, because in two ways. We need to collect easier and more convenient. We need to be next to the people. And this allows us if we are in the most convenient locations. And basically we run a lot of, for example, in the UAE, we partner with the major retail chains as Lulu, Carrefour, with Grandiose, with petrol stations as ADNOC, with big residential companies. So we actually provide the infrastructure where the people are on the go, where they can easily take their recyclables and recycle. And it's been really popular across the country, because in MENA region, only in MENA region, we have almost 400,000 people already joined our app, and it's growing each day, the number.
And I love, because you're going to the people, you're making that mindset shift that you mentioned a lot easier, because it's now convenient. It's not a case of like, I have to think about waste management. It's actually an option. And speaking on that mind shift, how do you see your role in changing the minds of the youth and driving them more towards sustainability?
I think the first step would be receiving advice and mentorship and guidance from the elder generations, from thinkers, from thought leadership, from people who have a vision, people who have an intentional living. Having a role model in life helps a lot. For example, one of the amazing role models here in this society, in the UAE and even in the region, is Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. He's an intentional leader. This leader, he have a high sense of sensibility and responsibility, which led to positioning the UAE a country that's leading the podium of sustainability in the world. So it starts with thinking, with beliefs, with role models, and then with intergenerational dialogue. And after intergenerational dialogue, people like Maxim will feel that there is bigger thing to do more than profit. It's about purpose, and will come with projects like Sparklo. So to spark Sparklo, you would need beliefs, you would need intentions, you would need models in the society to spark that sense of responsibility, which will make it convenient for daily users and for people in society to live a more sustainable living, I would say.
Maybe I would add one thing. So from my point of view, so a lot of young generations, they are not thinking about social impact as something like, we know that entrepreneurs, that actually they change the environment around us. And what I believe that the one great engineer, the graduate of the best university, he just doesn't think about social impact projects as something he wants. He thinks about it as a hobby, but not as the main activity he or she is choosing for their life. So we need to actually to tell that in social impact you can create greatest companies, you can create unicorns, and by doing the great things for the planet, actually. So I think it's the lack of this understanding for the people. Even me, when I was 24 years old, it was the first time I even thought about something about recycling. I was doing a lot of startups before. I was doing in software and hardware field. I'm an engineer, but I never thought about social impact, that it can be actually something I can create for my life.
Yeah, it's funny because we were talking about this, like we like our numbers, and I think that's the trap that social impact falls into. It's like you can't put a number on it. It's social impact. You can't feel it, you can't quantify it, but you find the change throughout the years. And on that, I would ask, when it comes to educating the public, what is the importance of building a culture first? What is it like? How is it become first an issue of the people, and then an issue of innovators like yourself bringing in solutions?
Culture, basically, it starts with beliefs, and then after beliefs, it goes with basically expressions. And then those expressions will change into policies, and those policies will change into societal, I would say, normative structures. Those normative structures, they would lead to products and would lead to services. So this is the power of culture. And building culture takes time. And I believe our generation, Generation Z, is a generation that benefited from the work and the culture building that happened from the generations before us. which led to our awareness. That's why most of people from our generation, Generation Z, they're really intentional in terms of spending. What kind of brands will I buy from? What kind of shirt I'll have? What kind of car I'm gonna get? What kind of celebrity I'm gonna follow? Is he sustainably aligned with my values? Is he a green or she a green celebrity or a role model or an influencer? And it goes from brands to industries to even people, to people we follow, to even friends, to the selection of friends. It all traces back to culture and values.
Yeah, we're seeing it with like slow fashion. We're starting to now become more mindful of what we're doing and the decisions we're making.
And I think COVID helped in that. COVID was an amazing reset for all of us to think, again, what does that mean to us? What does living mean to us? What does the planet mean to us? How should we perceive resources and how should we use them? Are we here to consume only, or we have something more meaningful to live and to do in this planet?
Yeah, and it was amazing because we didn't think we would survive at home, but we survived. Somehow we survived.
We did.
If we talk now in terms of innovation, there always is a follow-up question of investment. Investing in technical talent, investing in new technologies, do you think there's enough of an appetite, or where would you actually like direct these funds?
Well, to answer this question, we need to understand that if the business model is sustainable, if it's working, it doesn't mean it in any area there are going to be a lot of investment. So because investment, what they want, investors, they are looking for return on investment, and if it's even the social impact project, it means it's return on investment plus impact. So it might be the best option. But in order to do it, you need to actually provide some value for the people. So for example, we in Sparklo, like how did it work? We started putting our machines and we saw the huge interest from the audience. So we have queues next to our machines, and actually that's the problem we are dealing with it. But how we did it? By incentivizing it. So when you understand actually what's the issue with the people, what's the challenge? And the challenge is that people want to recycle, they want to do it in easy way, and they want some small rewards. If you match it, it's win-win for everyone.
On your end, I think the question would sort of go, can we invest more in education and in getting people to a point where they can be green innovators?
Definitely. I think we need to invest more in allowing people to have a self-talk, have a reflection, have an existential question sessions with themselves, and to explore those thoughts that would lead to the solutions. And when it comes even to the technical side and how can we approach sustainability in a practical way, I think fusion is a powerful topic. Fusion is a powerful topic, especially in nations like the United Arab Emirates. In the United Arab Emirates, as you know, it's leading and it's walking the talk in terms of sustainability, because you have a practical side of energy and you have a promising side. The practical side of energy, it's known, it's unpopular for many people, but it's the one that's securing societies now. It's allowing them to live, it's allowing them to move on. And the promising is also the one that has been hypothetically thought of back then, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, but it was expensive. It was really inaccessible for nations to invest into. But the beautiful thing about this nation specifically, that it tapped into both the promising and the practical in a very early stage. And that's why we have amazing energy companies, whether it's in the practical and the promising, whether it's Masdar, whether it's ADNOC, and an amazing even I would say milestone for the UAE in terms of fusion or in terms of climate action was the COP28 historical consensus. This historical consensus was unprecedented one. This global stocktake have never happened where all nations agree to act in this way. And I think what led to it is the investment in the education. Going back to the topic of youth and investment of education, the individuals who technically negotiated and worked on the climate actions, they were negotiators who were under 30. Those negotiators, they were the one who made the climate action consensus, which is too technical, by the way. It requires lots of policy making, lots of legal understanding, lots of reading, and and those people, normally, they would do it in previous COPs, people who would be probably above 60 years old. But in the COP28, the most historic, the most remarkable one, they were people under 30. This reflects the amount of investment that was put in their education, the amount of investment that was put in their beliefs, and in their culture.
Absolutely, and I think it also is a testament to just the power of knowledge. It's now more accessible, it's easier to find, and this is one of the issues that I think a lot of innovators face is like research and development tends to happen between closed doors, the data is not always available. But you've mentioned something very interesting. It's like a lot of the time the science doesn't back up the claims of companies. Talk to us about how you are dealing with this as someone who's now having companies claim, oh, this plastic is biodegradable, or this is, something that we can do and innovate.
So first, unfortunately, there are a lot of, let's say, I wouldn't say those projects they have a bad intensive. No, I would say they have a lack of knowledge, because even when we look, for example, you mentioned biodegradable plastic. So there is no actually biodegradable plastic. So it can be done, half of the formula can be done from biodegradable materials. But what it actually leads for, that someone will throw it into the nature, something will biodegrade, and the rest will be left for next generation. So when AbdelQader was saying that, do we actually own it? We don't actually own it. We borrow it from future generations. It means we actually do really bad things. So it's going to be...
we still need a plastic treaty, right?
Yeah. So, well, what we are doing, for example, we understand that even if there are going to be new innovations in terms of plastic formulas, for example, and if it would become biodegradable, you will still need to collect it. So we focus on the infrastructure, and we do a lot of R&D in infrastructure. For example, one of our new projects that we are testing right now, it's reusable cups for the coffee, because it's a huge problem. The cup that you are probably taking in the cafe with your morning cappuccino, you consume it how much time? Like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then 99.9% of cups in the world, they will be left in the landfill for hundreds of years. Someone says 400, but to be honest, the first plastic cup was invented 60 years ago, so no one actually knows how long it's going to be there. So we need some kind of new solutions, new technologies, not only recycling. It's reuse, reduce, reuse, recycle. So first, maybe you just don't need this single-use cup. If you need it, maybe it can be reusable. If it's another one, maybe we can recycle it. So there are a lot of technologies that have to be implemented.
But I think it's still also, there's a major misconception that every type of plastic can be safely recycled, which is not the case.
Well, there are like something like hundreds types of plastics, and out of them, but like the major ones, for example, the PET, the bottle that you are consuming, it's like really well recycled, 7-8 cycles it can live. And it's it's a good material because it's light, it's easy to transport, and you can open it, you can close it. For example, aluminum, it's not that good because you open it and that's it. So actually there is another impact. So for example, if you open aluminum can and you want to consume it in 5 hours, probably you wouldn't do it. So there are going to be the food waste. So the liquid waste. So there are always this, you have to think about like hundreds of different parameters to understand which one is better. But the plastic is for sure not the worst option.
This actually makes it seem like we almost need research and development into like just how we produce our products in the first place. And I'm going to shift gears a little bit, because one of the fascinating elements as well that you've dealt with is corporate and government, and how to get them to work together and work with the youth, because these are ultimately the people who are going to sort of take over in a few years and be the ones designing these products, be the ones coming up with the innovative solutions. How do you bridge that gap? Because corporate tends to go very profit, and government tends to have, a lot of other constraints and a lot of other issues that are really pressing.
I think the reason goes back to the nation that I come from and the government that I'm dealing with or that I'm representing, which is the UAE. And it's a purpose-driven government that impresses profit-driven institutions. And it became a hub for those corporate institutions around the world, like all the HQs, most of them in the region. For the past 15 years, they've been residing in the United Arab Emirates. It's because of the purpose-driven solutions and purpose-driven approach. And when you are purpose-driven, like when you're moving towards a problem in a purpose-driven rather than a profit-driven, you exceed the standards of profitability, because profitability, it's not that sustainable. It can get you some capital, but what after capital?
Very true.
This is the question, what after capital? Because capital can come and go. But when you do something that is purpose-driven, definitely you will attract more corporates. And I think we were really fortunate that we are in a country that since its inception, it empowered youth. Youth empowerment was never an issue in the UAE since the inception of this union. Not like many, for example, parts of the world where they needed, for example, some political action or some awareness to basically encourage youth and encourage decision makers to be part, to include actually young individuals in decision making. But in the UAE, since the inception, the union, when it started, members of its cabinets were under 30. And until now, members of the cabinet, 5 of them are under 30 years old. And even ambassadors and even like leaders.
And yourself, you've been playing a vital role.
I hope I'm a good citizen, I would say. A governmental or a government official would be something to aim for, definitely to serve the country and give back. But there are different shades of giving back to the country, whether it's in the corporate or in the government or even in the third sector, I would say. Also.
But I would like to add something. So when you talk about on purpose, purpose-driven company and company for profit, and you say it's like there are different sides. No, because the younger generation actually, they would choose the profit-driven, the purpose-driven company, and it would lead to extra profits.
Exactly.
So that's how it works.
And mindset they shifted totally for this generation, the Gen Z specifically. The way they consume, the way they shop, the way they move, and the way they deal with this life and this planet, it's mostly purpose-driven. I think maybe because of the access of information they have, maybe because of the internet activism, maybe because of all of that, awareness is really changing society in a good way.
Absolutely. We want a brighter, greener tomorrow. I want to thank you so much for the amazing work you do and for the amazing insights you've shared with us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so
much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Will we have a photo? We'll have a photo?